of color, mostly black men, face longer sentences than white males with similar crimes.
As a person of color, it is important to know your rights.
When stopped by the police, people of color are most likely to be searched. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 1 in 3 black men are most likely to end up in prison.
Do you know your Bill of Rights?
No.
Do you think it is important for a black male to know when dealing with the police?
Yes, because if you don't, they tend to make up their own rules and they can manipulate you basically.
As a black man, are you scared of the police in today's society?
No, I think they're more scared of me with me being, 6'2", African American. But I'm more scared of what they would do to me because they see me as a threat off the rip.
Cops in Moore, Oklahoma beat a man to death even though he did absolutely nothing wrong. Now of a 400-pound man with asthma who died Thursday after police put him in a chokehold.
The 18-year-old male victim had no weapon on him and he had his hands up in the air but was still shot by police multiple times.
NYPD officer pleading guilty to raping a school teacher at gunpoint in the Bronx.
I bet you snatch a chain off a nigga's neck, but you won't dare snatch a badge off that nigga's chest. And it's funny cause if you put C in front of the word op, then you'll probably just figure out who's your biggest threat. In Long Island, they choked that poor man to death. In Missouri, Mike Brown caught one in the head. Couple days later, they shot another nigga 9 times and had the audacity to cuff him after he was dead. All that blood spilled, all them tears shed. All these young unfinished lives ended. If I committed murder, I'll get 25 to life. But if a cop commit murder, he only gets suspended. Fuck your uniform, fuck your badge, fuck your weapon. You supposed to protect us, instead you want us to fear you and practice on us all those lethal tactics that they teach you. Stop abusing your power, nigga. Me and you are equal. You bleed, I bleed too. You eat shit, I eat too. You got a family waiting for you at home, right? Nigga, me too. You having a bad day? Yeah, me too. When I'm having a bad day, I don't get to walk around and shoot people. Kids used to wanna be you, now they wanna beat you. You used to be the hero, now the hero turned evil. Start defending the law and stop defending your ego. Shit, they'll probably kill me if I ever release this video. And if so, Mr. Officer, just pray that the Lord forgives you. And forgive you for raping that teacher uptown by Inwood. And forgive you for shooting that kid that opened his door with a Wii remote in his hand that you fucking thought was a pistol. Mr. Commissioner, just tell your popo to chill. There's more of us than y'all, son, shit about to get real. If we start shooting back, we shooting to kill. There's a kid sharing this video to let you know how he feel. What the fuck makes us so different? Huh? What the fuck makes us so different? You commit crimes just like everybody else. You just do this shit with permission. You choke that poor man with permission. You raped that fucking girl with permission. You shot that man's dog with permission. You probably fired me and killed me with permission.
The criminal justice system, how do they treat you?
Basically, when you get in that police car, they strip you of your identity, and you're no longer a person. They treat you like you've been causing problems for them your whole life.
Do you think the police departments are taught or conditioned to handle situations involving non-white subjects differently?
Minimally. When I was in Arkansas, I went to a police academy for a day, and they had one class that was on looking at culture. And all they had to do was take, how many hours? 10 hours out of pretty much the 40 hours of training they have to do every year. So I don't think it's enough, but I don't think it's taught in a way that is with what's going on in society today.
Do you think there should be changes in the criminal justice system?
Oh yeah, where you want me to start? Oh yeah, of course. There's always a need and room for changes, but it more so starts with not just criminal justice, it's just society as a whole, because it's trickling down into the system itself.
If so, what would you change in the system?
You're talking about courts, policing, anything? What would I change? That's hard. I would most likely probably change how individuals are incarcerated. If you've ever visited a prison, you'll kind of see that it's just a place where somewhere you don't want to be, and then sometimes it's a place where it doesn't offer too much for individuals to actually use to actually be to reinvent themselves to actually go back into society. So I would change, adding some more programs, adding different types of work skills, not just the work skills of like gardening and all that stuff. I would actually put in more educational programs in there.
1 in 3 black men will spend time in prison at some point in their lives. 1 in every 13 black men ages 30 to 34 was in prison in 2011 versus 1 in 90 white men in the same age group. Why? For one, black people are 3 times as likely to be searched than whites during traffic stops and twice as likely to be arrested. And this starts young. Of the population under 18, African Americans make up 17% of the total, 30% of those arrested, and 62% of those tried in adult criminal courts. Being tried as adults leads to longer and more severe sentences. Another reason for the racial disparity of our criminal justice system, the war on drugs. Despite studies that show black and white people use and deal drugs at equal levels, black people make up 37% of the people arrested for drug offenses. Once they get out of prison, black people are 3 times more likely to be disenfranchised than white people. White men with recent criminal records are far more likely to receive callbacks for job interviews than black men with no criminal record at all. In this way, we already treat black people like felons. On top of that, black people are twice as likely as white people to be unemployed. This was true in 1954 and it's true now. This has led to one of America's most shameful facts. The median wealth of white families is 13 times more than black families. A contributing factor is that white people are almost twice as likely to own a home, one of the country's best paths to building wealth. The gap in home ownership between black and white people is the same now as it was in 1900. For those who are homeowners, black families live in neighborhoods where the median income is $10,000 lower than a similar income white family's neighborhood, which means local schools and public services are worse. This is a modern continuation of ghettoization, which started in the mid-20th century. Suburbanization and white flight began, in part, as a response to the disappearance of Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws were a way to prevent black people from fully joining society after the abolition of slavery. Nowadays, we just toss 1 of every 3 black men in jail.
How do you believe colorism has played a part in the incarceration system today?
I think it has played a huge part in the incarceration system today. And I think a lot of sources are bringing that conversation to light more. But we have seen through the years that people of color are being incarcerated at greater rates than people of non-black or other ethnicities. And they're, charged much harsher for the same amount of crimes. And so I think that, in recent years, well, probably within the past decade, I think that that issue is really being brought to the surface. People are being more educated about it.